that is why on Rahul Gandhi's USA visit, now that his remarks have triggered a row, is he now insulting India abroad yet again? That's a question we are going to be debating in just a bit.
I think currently a huge problem in the education system is the ideological capture. Most of our vice chancellors today are placed by the RSS.
Devta in India actually means a person whose internal feelings are exactly the same as his external expression. Meaning he's a completely transparent being. Right? It does not mean God.
Not everywhere on the planet has an employment problem. Okay? The West has an employment problem. India has an employment problem. But there are many countries in the world that don't really have an employment problem. China certainly doesn't have an employment problem. Vietnam doesn't have an employment problem.
राहुल गांधी अगर आप पूरी स्पीच को ऑब्जर्व करेंगे, क्योंकि उनकी चाइनीज़ कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया के चाइनीज़ कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के साथ में उनका एक सीक्रेट एमओयू है, इसीलिए हमेशा जब भारत और चीन के बारे में आती है वो चीन के साथ खड़े हुए देखते हैं, ना कि भारत के साथ। राहुल गांधी यही नहीं रुकते हैं, वो भारत के लीगल सिस्टम पे भी अटैक करते हैं क्योंकि वो बेल पे बाहर है। आज उन्होंने हिंदुस्तान के लोकतंत्र पे भी हमला किया है।
What Rahul Gandhi said in his lecture was absolutely right. Our universities are being completely hijacked. The curriculum is getting hijacked. The institutions are getting hijacked by one ideology, one organization.
Let me introduce our panelists today. I'm joined by Mr. Tom Varakan, who's a spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Also joining me is Mr. Sandeep Yadav, who's a spokesperson for the Congress Party. Mr. Yadav, let's in fact start with how demeaning is the China analogy, because I just have some data which I'd like to share with you. In August itself, a report has clearly highlighted how unemployment in China, especially youth unemployment, because since Mr. Gandhi spoke about young, youthful, skilled labor not being promoted in India enough, 17%. That's how the unemployment in China has been rising. It was in fact till June it was up to 15.2%. What explains the rising unemployment, and what explains Rahul Gandhi's own take when he's talking about unemployment in China being so controlled compared to the West, the United States, even India?
I don't know the source of your data, but I quote the source. Spectator Index. Spectator Index says that only 7 million people are poor in China. See, first thing, World Inequality
Let me also tell you,
report.
it's known that Spectator Index is a very biased sort of platform. We've already exposed how Spectator Index comes
biased,
out.
okay?
I'm using
Okay,
National Bureau
yes.
of Statistics for you over here. And that's very much gone on to talk about how the unemployment is on the rise. You talk about the economy, the GDP has been constantly coming down. Intel, Microsoft, Nike, Dell, Apple, they are all moving manufacturing out. At a time, India is becoming a manufacturing hub. How dare Rahul Gandhi say that it is China which is owning manufacturing?
See, listen, World Inequality Lab report, forget about China, just focus on India. World Inequality Lab report says 1% people in the country hold 40% resources of the country. And see, the Bahujans of the country, like the SC, ST and OBCs, see, their share in 2012, the report says, World Inequality Lab report says, the share of the SC, ST, OBCs, like SC, ST was 1.8% in 2012. It has increased slightly, and it has gone to 2.3% in 2022. And see, the population of SC and ST is 25% roughly. And OBCs, the Mandal Commission says that they are 52%, but the people of the country say that they are somewhere near 60% of the country. So they hold 9% resource in 2022, and they earlier in 2012 they had 18% of the national wealth share. So you can just think about the situation of the majority population of the country, and see, China has 15 trillion economy. India is somewhere 3 trillion economy. The target is a 5 trillion. US holds somewhere above 20 trillion, 24 trillion economy. United States, and the population of United States of America
Tom
is
Vadakan,
30.
at a time we are talking about how India's GDP is only on the rise compared to how we've seen there's this nosedive in the GDP of China. How much of that argument, in fact, holds any kind of ground with you?
No, the
No,
China.
I want to bring Mr. Vadakan in now. I've given you time to speak. Mr.
Let me
Yadav,
complete. Let me complete that. You said that.
we
how
have
dare
to
Rahul
quickly
Gandhi-
wrap up
how
also.
dare-
I have.
No, just let me
bring
complete.
in
you
Mr.
can't take. You
Yes,
can't
Mr.
take
Yadav,
that space.
you've made your point, and I have taken your point. Let Mr. Vadakan also come in.
Akansha, I think there is an issue which I think the Congress party is struggling with. The MOU that was signed in August 2008 with China seems to be heading for a situation where the LOP of India is now in conflict of interest. In sense, he is now projecting himself as the brand ambassador for China. Interestingly, you brought this statistics out. The figure that I have is 21% of youth is unemployed in China. And this comes not from any vague magazine. It comes from the Wall Street Journal. And let me also tell you that 10 Janpat subscribes to the Wall Street Journal and they have access to all information. I wish the LOP had done his homework before going and making such statements. 5.10 is supposedly the unemployment figure that is with China. Now, the reality is,
Sandeep
if you
Yadav, do you agree or not? Right, Mr. Vadakan, I just want to take an acknowledgement of a fact from Mr. Sandeep Yadav. Do you agree or not that it was during the UPA era in 2011 to 2012 that China took over from UAE as India's largest trading partner?
So they may have taken over the largest partner from India, but that's not a matter.
No,
Rahul
that is
Gandhi
a matter. That is a matter because
No,
that's
that is not the
exactly what I'm
matter.
talking about.
Just listen. He's saying that he's quoting the data at in the unemployment rate in China, but he doesn't talk about unemployment rate in India. Yesterday, a person in India sold his son to somebody to just pay the bill of the hospital to release his wife, get his wife released from the hospital. Only 4,000 rupees. He didn't have any money to pay. So he sold his son in 20,000 rupees. That is the state of affairs in India. That is the state
Mr.
of affairs in
Vadakan,
India.
if I could bring you in
So
on
this
that,
is
the
situation.
state of affairs.
You do not.
All right,
you do not-
Sandeep Yadav,
see,
let me also
80%
listen.
people of India, they earn less than $4 in the country, in India. 80% people, they are leading their life in less than $4 per day. Got such a huge inequality. I just quoted World Inequality Lab report. Do you have counter to that? And I don't bother about China manufacturing unit, whether they are doing well or not. That is altogether a different matter. But what is the state of affairs of India?
I'm
We are in
quoting
a
World
horrible
Bank
situation.
data. I'm
Horrible
quoting you
situation.
World Bank data, and that
See,
also goes
Madam-
on to talk
Madam
about.
Rahul Gandhi also said that
Right.
the academic institutions have been hijacked by RSS and BJP.
So are you
See,
saying
out
that
of
World Bank
43
has also been
out of 43
hijacked
central
by
universities-
RSS?
Listen to me.
Are you saying
Out
I'm
of 43
quoting
central
World Bank
universities,
data?
How many
Sandeep
SC,
Yadav,
ST and
if you
OBC
may
vice chancellors?
listen to some information, it may benefit you during similar
Yes.
discussions in the future. World Bank data says that India's GDP stands at 7.6% in 2023, whereas China stands at 5.2%. I rest my case. Tom Vadakan, please go ahead.
You can rest
It's a-
any
it
case,
is-
but
it
you know,
is,
Tom Vadakan,
GDP
let
is-
him, please go
what
ahead
are
and
the
make your
sources?
point.
The SBI is giving data, religions.
I'm talking
data.
about World Bank. It has nothing to do with
Live-
SBI. Tom Vadakan, please. All right, we'll try and reconnect with Mr. Tom Vadakan, but I'd also like to know why. All right, Mr. Vadakan, if I could bring you in on India's economic failures that have been highlighted right now by Sandeep Yadav and the Honorable Leader of Opposition in the United States.
It's a sad commentary that the LOP, who is supposed to be representing India, goes and denigrates India. He talks about various issues. The fact of the China statistics that he presented it came down to a such situation that he exposed himself. He talks about the planet and that that and other places have a problem, and China is flourishing. What kind of logic is this man? Either he's LOP or he is brand ambassador for China. Let him settle down on that issue. Various issues he talked about. This gentleman talks about infiltration of RSS. Hello, I have been the chairman of
you
bodies.
don't question the Prime Minister.
No, just listen to me now. I have been the chairman of governing bodies. I know how much Congress and leftists have joined the academics. They're totally, completely controlled by leftists, by congressmen. Congressmen gave them a free rein, and this is the reality. And if some people are coming in missions with merit, you call them RSS?
Yadav,
Can you do that?
I
No.
want to quickly bring in Sandeep Yadav on the RSS aspect also. Some very interesting comments made by the LOP over there also. Why does he think that the RSS is against the idea of women working outside the domestic sphere?
Because RSS supports Manusmriti. RSS says that, the head of RSS, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, they are going to complete their 100 years on 26th of this September 2024. So, Mohan Bhagwat said in 2013, he said that the women, they are influenced by the Western culture and they should not be allowed to,
All right, interjection, Sandeep Yadav, just because he
Let me
opines, if Mohan Bhagwat says that we are against the ideologies or the feminism that is promoted in the West, does that mean that he's against the idea of women empowerment in his country?
No, you read Manusmriti. What Manusmriti
I have.
says.
I have. Let me tell you that.
You must have read. You must have read.
And let me also tell you, please, let's not digress about Manusmriti. I'm sure they are upholding certain values.
Because the RSS is the organization which supports Manusmriti. Said that they initially opposed the Constitution of India. They were they didn't agree with the Constitution of India. They said that we want a constitution based on our own traditional Manusmriti and all the laws. And Manusmriti is considered as a regressive text, and it's a text which denigrate. It's a misogynistic Indian text. It denigrates women. It denigrates women, and
Okay, so Tom Vadakan, if you oppose feminism of the West, does that make you anti-women? Let me also bring you in. Important to highlight.
Kabir said.
Right now, I need to stick to facts. I don't have time for Kabir's dohas right now. But Mr. Vadakan, I want you to also highlight all those programs that the RSS is running right now, which are about empowering women. There is Mahila Samanvay, there's a lawyer's body also that is talking about
you don't have time to listen
awareness
because you don't
for women's rights.
That's the point.
Let me bring
That's
in
the
the other panelist.
I mean,
this
is not
you gave him
correct,
time,
Anand.
no?
You
I
can't
gave you time, Mr. Yadav. I gave you
listen,
time.
madam. Our Prime Minister
I'm not
went to a
madam,
Muslim
I am
country.
Akanksha Swaroop. I'd like you to refer to my name.
Akanksha.
Mr. Vadakan, please go ahead and make your point.
Yeah.
Akanksha, our Prime Minister went to a Muslim
I want
country.
to
He said that the
inform
Muslims of the world are
Mr.
changing.
Sandeep
And the
Yadav.
next day, the
Can
CM
I?
of Assam,
I am
this is-
talking
Muslim
about
Assam said that don't
RSS
buy-
being touted
don't
as
buy fish from the
anti-women.
Muslim shops.
Please do not digress. I'm talking about why are
I'm
you
not
calling
digressing.
RSS anti-women.
Mr. Vadakan
Let
is
me hear
digressing.
what Mr. Vadakan has to say. Mr. Vadakan, please highlight why RSS, there's a big charge coming in that RSS is anti-women.
What the LOP doesn't know is that RSS has a Rashtriya Sevak Samiti. This is women who are involved in social work, are not exposed to the cameras that Rahul Gandhi expects them to be. They are professionals serving this country. They are part of it, part of empowerment. He about RSS chief. RSS chief is one of the chief persons who's been empowering women. You're right when you said it is not about the Western feminism we are talking about. We are talking about Indian conditions and the positions that women have been there. They are careerists. We have promoted them. Now, BJP, for example, the Ujjwala scheme, the working women's
I asked
Beti
Mr.
Bachao,
Vadakan, do
Beti
you...
Padhao. And now, well, let me complete. Have some civil behavior.
And
If you
without
don't have a
consent-
civil behavior, don't come for a debate. Don't come for a debate without being civil. You're in the channel by doing this kind of debate. And now let me add to you, your LOP is presenting half-baked ideas. He talks about devatas, for example. And what is explanation? Does he know what he's talking about? He is giving an explanation which doesn't exist anywhere. He is creating his own arguments. Then he talks about what? He talks about Lord Shiva. And what is his definition of Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva destroys himself. My God, I'm a Christian, shocked by this kind of explanation that the LOP
All right.
of India is
All
going
right,
and
I'm going to
presenting
have to
himself
wrap
to the West.
up with that. I'm sure, I think I would also like to quote what Mohan Bhagwat had to say in 2022. He's gone on to talk about, until women's equal participation in the workforce is ensured, efforts aimed at the progress of the country will not be successful. There are many schemes also which are running, and perhaps it would be good to have a look at them, maybe debate whether more can be done or not, yes, but to say that RSS is anti-women, that in fact requires certainly something to in fact sit up, take notice of, and even question what we go and in what light we go out and present our country.